All right, so continuing with 2.1 linear functions. It says find the slope intercept of the line parallel to y equals 3x plus 1. Okay, before we get started, we have to make sure we understand what it means to be parallel. Okay, so if lines are parallel, that's not a word right there. There you go. That was an accidental line. Parallel, they have the same slope. Do y'all remember that? Okay, so if lines are parallel, then they have the same slope. So if I'm looking for a line parallel to y equals 3x plus 1, that means that the slope has to be what?
3.
The slope has to be 3. Because if it's not 3, then would they be parallel? No. Okay, so I know my m and I'm given my point. So the point that I'm using is 2 and -1. If I have slope and a point or point and a slope, I'm going to be using point slope. Remember, point slope is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. I have everything I need to plug in, so I'm going to substitute those values in. So y minus y1 equal m, which is 3 times x minus x1. And now I'm going to clean this up. I don't know why it hasn't shown. It's like once this class starts, technology decides we've had enough for the day. There it is. Okay, so we're going to clean this up. We have a negative times a negative. That gives us a positive. We distribute our 3. That gives us 3x plus 6. It's not plus 6, minus 6. Just wanted to make sure y'all are paying attention. Minus 6. And then I'm going to subtract 1. So our answer would be y equals 3x minus 7. And it asks for slope intercept. And that is why we came down to this. The y? Mm-hmm. It's your y1. Okay, questions about identifying parallel. Okay, next one is going to be perpendicular. So when lines are perpendicular, so if two lines are perpendicular, the slopes are what we call opposite reciprocals. So the slope would be -3. Opposite means that if it's positive, then it becomes a negative, and if it's negative, it becomes a positive. Reciprocal means that if you have a over 1, then its reciprocal is 1 over a. Okay, and vice versa. If you have 1 over a, then the reciprocal is a over 1. So for this problem, identifying our slope. So the slope in the given problem is 1/3. It's a positive 1/3. So the slope of our perpendicular line is going to have to be negative. And then the reciprocal of 1/3 is 3 over 1, which is just 3. So my new slope has to be -3. And I'm given my point. Okay, this time I'm going to model it using slope intercept to begin with. So y equals mx plus b. My y is -1. My m is -3. My x is 1. And I need to solve for my b. That gives me -1 equals -3 plus b. What do I need to do to get b by itself? I'm going to add 3. And what is -1 plus 3? 2. So my equation is y equals negative 3x plus 2. Remember, there's more than one way to find the equation of a line given a point and a slope. All right, what are your questions about perpendicular? Questions, comments, concerns? All right. Okay, now it says find the slope form of the equation of the lines that outline the rectangle with the vertices 1, 1, 5, 1, and 5, 5. Thought I had put a graph, but I did not. So we're just going to sketch it out. So if I have 1, 1, it's probably down here, right? And then I have 5, 1, which means I'm going to go over 5 units. So this is at 1, 1. This is at 5, 1. Then I'm at 5, 5. And then therefore I have to be where in order for this to be a rectangle?
5, 1.
Say it again.
5, 1.
Say it again.
5, 1.
1, 5. There we go. I would hope he would like switch it, but it didn't happen. Oh, no, I was trying to not tell you you were wrong without saying you were wrong. All right, so if I'm looking for the equation of the line that represents the lines of the rectangle, that means that this is a horizontal line. And these are horizontal, and these are vertical, right? And we talked about oy vux, right? Do y'all remember that? Okay. What? Okay. Anyways. Ignore the sophomores and proceed. That's what y'all are acting like. Exactly. Exactly. All right. So horizontal. Horizontal means it's the what value? Horizontal means it's the y. So the equation of this line would be y equals 5. The equation of this line would be y equals 1. Vertical means is which variable? X. So the equation of this line would be 5, and the equation of this line would be 1. So those would be the lines that create that rectangle. And the reason why, so in slope intercept form, it makes sense. For horizontal lines, the slope is 0. And for vertical lines, the slope is undefined. So therefore, there's nothing else to write besides x equals or y equals. How do you feel about finding the equation of vertical and horizontal line? All right. So here, this is called a regression model, and it says find the line of least squares fit for the data points -1, 4, 0, 3, 1, 1.5, and 2, 1. Okay. What is the correlation coefficient? Plot the data and graph the line. Now, sorry, this is what we call a regression model. In order to do this, we need our TI-83 calculators. And I forgot to tell you guys that you need batteries. So that kind of makes it difficult for you to use the TI-83 calculator because Everyone needs to bring their own 4-pack of AAA batteries.
Triple A.
Mhm.
How much those cost?
$1. So yes, so really quick, I'm going to show you the calculator. All right, so literally, right? So here's the calculator. Pew, pew. You're going to input the data. So our data is given to us. And to input the data, we're going to go to Stat, Edit. So once we're there, we go to, you click on the Stat button, and you're going to go to Edit. And then you're going to input your values. So I'm going to input my values. So I have -1, I have 0, 1, 2 as my X values. And then I have 4, 3, 1.5, and 1 as my Y values. Okay. After your input, this is an important step. You have to close out this window. Okay. To close out this window, you press second, and then you press mode. So to close out the window, we're going to press second, then mode. So I'm going to press second, mode. And that takes me back to the calculator screen. Once here, you're going to press stat again, but this time you're going to go to calc. So we press stat, and then we go to calc. So we go to stat, then calc. And we want a linear regression. So you're looking for linear regression. So on this calculator, linear regression is 4. Okay. I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to hit enter again, and it's going to give me my information. And then enter again. And bam, you now have your slope. A equals your slope. So for this problem, our slope is -1.05. And B equals your B, 2.9. So the equation would be Y equals -1.05 X plus 2.9. Okay, your correlation coefficient, you go back to stat, you're gonna go to calc, and it says 2 variable stats. And you're gonna hit enter. And your coefficient did not pop up. It used to be there. Hold on. Yeah, it's not there. I'll figure that part out, but right now we're just gonna roll with it. Maybe it's on the new ones. It'll give you an R. You're supposed to see an R value, and I don't know why I don't see an R value on this classic guy here. I don't like to call it old, but the correlation coefficient just basically means how well is it plotted? How well associated is your information? I really want to know. Why don't I like to call it old? Because, you know, that's just not fair to call it old, I feel. And there it is. That's a lot of steps to get to that R value. But there it is. So my R value, I knew there was a way. I was tripping. It's called a linear regression test. You're not going to be asked this again. But what the R value means, the closer it is to either -1 or +1, means that this is a pretty linear graph. That means that the points are aligned. And you can see it graphically by turning on your plot. So if I turn on the plot and I graph these, aren't they pretty much in a line? Mm-hmm. So that's why it's 0.98, because it's fairly close to being a perfect linear situation. But yeah, so all I did was go to stat. I went over to calc, and over to test, and I did the linear regression test. I hit enter, and it's like, you want me to calculate? Yeah, I want you to calculate. That's why I'm here. And then scroll. There's my R value. and R is almost at -1. So therefore, it's almost perfectly linear. Okay. The other way you can test it out, your R correlation, is once you have this, you can see how well your points line up on this graph. X plus 2.9, hit graph. It's pretty darn perfect, right? Do y'all see that? It's pretty darn close. So that's what the regression, the correlation coefficient is saying, is how perfect or how close is it to making a perfect line, to all the points lining up perfectly on there, okay? And that's our regression model. So that's the last piece of 2.1, is being able to create a regression model. Hopefully you wrote down the steps that are up here. If not, then you'll need to go back and write them down. I'm going to strongly encourage that. But yes, those are the 6 steps to get your regression model. When you're done, to clear your calculator, FYI, it's second plus 712. Back when I was in high school, well, middle school, it was second plus 512. And because we lived in Austin, we're like, oh yeah, rep in Austin. But you know, the upgrade happened and it's now 712. Huh? It's now 712. Austin is 512, but the reset used to be 512. But that's what it is. Now it's cleared. Nope, not like that. It clears it, but doesn't clear the data from your table. Yeah, it is classic, but it's the same on all until you get to a new, like this 2020 version of it. It looks almost like the Inspire, but different buttons. So yeah. All right.